so happy to be able to speak with you guys. I love seeing emerging talent. I love seeing young talent and Black talent. And we got all that up here. So we're going to start with you, DaVinci. Tell us how you got into acting.
Oh, how did I get it? Thank you guys for the warm welcome, by the way. I appreciate you guys, and thank you for the introduction. I was in college, and I was getting a degree in criminal justice, and I went to college really early. I got to college at 17 because I was taking classes in high school, and I wanted to just get this thing over with. So I remember being in college, and I was studying criminology, and I got a degree there. And I remember one of my professors, he was like, in your generation, you guys aren't going to have social media. Social security. Right? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, we're not going to have social security? He was like, you're going to have to work until you're like 99 years old, or you're just going to have a lot of kids. And of course, like, as a child, you're not really processing stuff like that. You're like, what are you like? Come on, old man, like, relax. And then after class, I was like, what do you mean? So he started talking about the government, how it's working, and how the generations before us had access to that, but we're not going to have that same access because of how things are changing. And he was just like, so basically, you got to have some crazy idea, become rich, and just hope to God or whatever. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And I remember I went home, and I was talking to my brother about it. And I was like, yo, I might as well just, like, pursue my dreams. That's literally, I promise you, that's literally how it kind of started. And we were laughing about it. We were joking about it. And he was like, nah, bro, you probably should. I was like, you think so? And he was like, yeah. And we just started talking about it. And, you know, as the Father says, you know, when two or more are gathered in his name, it shall be done. And it's like, that was like the first moment of like me believing that I can become somebody. And it stemmed off just knowing that I have no future if I depend on the system. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I need to come up with something. And we're thinking, I'm like, NBA? I'm like, nah, it's too late. I'm like, the NFL, I'm like, yeah, but I got track scholarships, I had football scholarships, stuff like that. But I was like, bro, I'm not like, it's just, I didn't see myself in that. And then we was like, music. And then I started rapping. Then I got my degree. I moved up north. I mean, let me speed this up. I'm sorry, because I'm going to speed this up. I'm sure. So I moved up north back with my mom's, and I started performing at Gloria Carter's restaurant. And that's Jay-Z's mother. She had a restaurant there, and every Thursday they would have managers and A&Rs and stuff like that come in. And I found a manager. We started working together. We're no longer together, but we started working together at the time. And then he was like, yo, you ever thought about acting? I'm like, yeah. Like, as a child, every time we would finish watching a movie, we would become those characters. And, you know, and we would watch a whole bunch of different movies. We would watch movies like French speaking, because I'm Haitian and our first language is French or French Creole. So we'll go from that, then English, then different accents and all that stuff. So we were always characters growing up, and we would imitate Americans. We loved imitating African Americans because in our household we were told, don't be like African Americans. It was like, they were like, that's not you, that's not your upbringing. So that just makes a kid like want to be an African American. Right. So we were like, all right, we're gonna be 50 Cent, bet. But anyway, so I started doing that. I started acting, and then I met, shout out to Little Mama, my lip gloss is popping, lip gloss is cool, Little Mama, and she was like, yo, fly to LA and meet my manager. I'm like, bro, she's not gonna want to sign me, I'm way too old. And I was 20 years old, and she was just, I know, this is like a couple years ago. But a lot of times, like, Myles was a kid when he's, you know what I'm saying? Like, everyone started, so you don't really like, I don't know, like, when you're a man and you're just like, man, it's not gonna happen like that. And, you know, and I was testing God, and God made me shut up, because right after that, I signed with an agency, and 2 weeks later, by the grace of God, I was booking consistently.
I know, that's right. Yeah. That's wonderful.
Thank
and I
you.
especially love the message of that it is really never too late. There's always a space for you to fit within this industry. Yeah. How about you, Courtney?
For me, I was really into movies when I was young because of my dad. My dad would sit us down and he would point out every single actor, like, you need to know this person, you need to know this person too. This is, look how they acting, da 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 da. And I used to think, like, dang, I would love for my dad to talk about me like that, because I wasn't very good at sports, but my brother was really good at them. So he was always like, my dad was always like on my brother a lot, like going to all his games, and I was just performing. I was doing jazz, ballet, I was doing all this stuff, so my dad wasn't really going to that. But I knew if I could like get on the screen and like he'd be like, oh, that's my daughter, I'd be like, this is my thing, this is my one thing. But I never knew I could actually do something with it. I just knew that it was a hobby. I loved performing. And when I did the same thing, I went to college and I got a degree in criminal justice and sociology. I thought that was going to be such an easy degree too. I was like, I'll do criminal justice. The athletes are doing it, you know. I can get through this. And I was struggling. I was struggling so hard. The athletes is acing the class. I'm at the after hours every day. I was like, this is just not me. And I graduated and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm not good at this. I don't want to do that, but I love acting. So she was like, well, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. So I auditioned for an agent, this smaller agent in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Shout out Pat Yorks, love that lady. She believed in me, and she submit me for stuff, and I was so excited. And I was like, but I still want to create. So I started creating things online and making skits and, you know, making little silly stuff that I thought was just me venting, but people really was you know, enjoying it. And that's how I got my manager, because my manager saw a couple of my skits online. And she loved what I was doing, and she loved that I wanted to create, not just act, but create. And that's how I got my manager. And then she didn't understand while I was still on the East Coast. And I was like, well, I don't know. I didn't think about going to LA. I just was going back and forth. I'm from Philly, and I moved to Delaware like when I was a little younger. So I was just going to New York every once in a while. And she was just like, well, why don't you go to LA? The opportunities are going to be way more there. And I was like, okay, I mean, I don't got nothing to do. I ain't got no responsibilities. So I did that, and I started auditioning heavily. Like, I was doing maybe 20 auditions I was maybe having an audition every other day. And I was like, this is the life. I am doing it. But I was getting a lot of no's. But luckily, I'd been in LA for like 3 months, and I'd finally gotten that Insecure audition. And I was like, oh, I got to do this. I'm like, it was the next day. I had to call out of work and all these different things. And kind of the rest is history.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. I love the pipeline of, you know, a friend being like, you got to move to LA, and being like, okay.
I guess I'll go.
I love it. Now, Myles, your story is a little bit differently because you started very young. You played the young counterpart to Ron DeVoe in the New Edition story.
You remember.
So, yeah, tell us about, kind of how you got involved, but then also what was the first role that you were like, oh, I'm an actor. I'm acting right now.
Well, you know, unlike Da Vinci, I was a dog in sports. You know what I mean? I was a dog, you feel me? But they couldn't hold me down. You know, there was one summer where I wanted to go to this basketball summer camp. And all the slots, no, this is true story. It's true story. You know, all the slots was filled up that summer. And my mom was like, well, you can go to this theater camp. It was at the Salvation Army. You can go there, or you can go to Emory Hospital for the rest of the summer, because that's where my grandmother worked, and she wasn't going to watch me, my mom, you know. So I was like, all right, I'll go to this theater camp. And, you know, every other week we did a stage performance for our parents. And, you know, I just grew up to have, you know, just being comfortable in front of large audiences and, you know, being present and in the moment. Because, you know, on stage you only got one shot, you know. And as a kid, I just had that pressure, and I just really lived in it rather than, you know, strayed away from it. And then over time, I joined this youth ensemble program called YEA, Youth Ensemble of Atlanta. Kenan Thompson came out of there, Candy Burris, a lot of people. If you guys watch SpongeBob on Broadway, Jalen Rose, she plays Pearl. She came out of YEA. So I went there for a couple of years. And then Robbie Reed, she came to Georgia, and the director of my youth ensemble group had figured out that she needed some boys to play some parts. And I sang Candy Girl a couple of times. I auditioned for Ralph, and then she had me audition for Ronnie. And then we did this improv scene in front of her, just saying like, how would we feel if we saw ourselves on a billboard? And then she tape recorded us, and after that, the rest was history. I found myself in LA doing a chemistry read with Chris Robinson and her as well, and I was back in high school. My mom was like, "This is not your job after filming that." I didn't have a manager or agent when I booked that, you know. So then after that, I was like, man. in a brick and mortar school with predominantly white kids, and I'm the only black kid. And I just came from a set for 4 months. I was living 2 different lives, you know, and I was forced to keep pushing. And I was only in high school for maybe a month. And I moved to Toronto and did Ken with Zoe, and then the rest was history, you know, for real. But just over time, I had to, like, I was always, you know, the youngest in the room. So you got to be that sponge, you know, and be open to knowing that you're not the most known in the room.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was my start. Mm-hmm.
Good deal. Now, Ernest, you come from across the pond, as we like to call it. Tell us about, you know, the same thing of kind of what got you into acting, but specifically, because I know you've done some stage before, what kind of facilitated that move from stage to screen?
For sure. First, I just want to say those stories are incredible. Like, the journey is amazing. I feel like from a young age, I was always into the arts, like, period. It wasn't really a thing of film, TV, theater. It was all like one kind of thing for me. I grew up on like Disney Channel, watching Disney Channel, and just like thinking, oh, okay, yeah, like if, you know, I'm watching like That's So Raven and stuff and Boy Meets World, and just thinking, oh, I want to be a part of that. I want to do that. And I think I had a lovely mum who just pushed me in that direction and put me into like these Saturday classes. And yeah, it was kind of seamless from there. I think it's one of those things where, you know, it was something that brought me joy and still brings me joy. And it was a simple thing of how do I keep on like attaining that feeling of joy? I keep doing this thing that brings me joy, right? And that was it. I was just doing acting. I was doing singing as well and dancing. But just doing stuff, just doing something to enjoy. It led me to doing drama school, studying for 3 years, being very fortunate enough to, you know, audition for things like Washington Black and get my big break there. And I think it was just something that, my parents really ushered me into from a young age, and just that kind of pursuit of joy. And that was the thing that brought me the most joy.
You know, it's so important to establish a baseline of joy, a baseline of passion and wanting to do it, because we know that with this industry, there comes a lot of success, but then there can be a lot of down moments, also a lot of rejections and no's, and kind of being in the face of that. I want to start with you, Da Vinci. You're very vocal about mental health and the importance of it, especially in an industry that's so volatile. Tell me about kind of what made you decide to start speaking about that and how you kind of maintain yourself within this career.
Wow, that's a great question. Let me try to summarize this as best as possible. Because, all right, so what made me gravitate towards it and feel this moral obligation to, you know, give back in that sense, I think it's because, one, you know, when I ask God, if you get me out of my situation, I'm going to do right by it. You know, I think, unfortunately, a lot of times when we do get, you know, thrust in a position, the attention, the money, the fame, and all that stuff, it kind of makes you to forget who really put you in that position. So I just wanted to create a way to let people know that I didn't put myself in this position. I had to get my mindset right. Mm-hmm. And then white people call it mental health, and I didn't realize that. So I was really just talking about my mindset. Right. I swear, that's the truth. I was like, oh, that's the word y'all call it. I call it God. Mm-hmm. So the whole time I'm talking about God, they're like, no, this is mental health, buddy. I'm like, okay, so it's mental health. But I'm like, but it's God. So, but it's really the same thing. And I realized that when you start seeing the statistics and the studies that goes out on the way like the generation is right now, Gen Z, and just anyone from like 17 to like 36 is like the clinical depression rates, the anxiety, the suicide rates is at an all-time high. So I was like, on my off season, I just want to talk to people and let them know, because I come from a hard life. You know, I was extreme poverty. My mom was making $30,000 a year taking care of 5 of us. You know what I'm saying? Up north. So it's like you could only imagine. So that's why I gravitated towards the streets early. I've done a lot of things that got me in and out of juvenile detention centers, and it's got to the point that my father, he was like, yo, I'm going to take him and my other brother. We were the two youngest. I was a baby. And they took us and left the older ones there and brought me to Florida. And that's what really changed my life, because I was in a different environment. And I realized, and one of my favorite authors, Napoleon Hill, he says, nature forces upon the minds of men the influences of their environment. And I realized when my environment changed, my thought patterns changed. Everything changed. And that's why I was able to think clearly and devise a strategy and, go the direction that I was able to go. And in Proverbs, it says, a person with no vision perishes. So I was able to create a vision when I was in a different environment. And I realized, like, all this tap dancing on TV that I'm doing or whatever, it's like if I don't tell people how to get there, how to strengthen their mind, I'm doing God a disservice. And at the end of the day, we're servants. Because I think it was Muhammad Ali, he said the rent that we pay on being on earth is just serving people. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, if I'm not doing that, and I just felt this more obligation, so then I just started touring on my own and just talking to colleges and stuff like that. And then it became something bigger than a Forbes article, complex and all this stuff. But really, I was just doing it because I wanted to help people, because I understand we're living in a world now that we're under a lot of anxiety, we're under a lot of depression, and we're battling a lot, and God's been removed from the picture. And that's why we're all stressing, because when you imagine a life without God, that's why you stress, because you're relying on yourself and not God's path. So I'm just trying to redirect people back to where we come from. And that's really it. And they call it mental health, and I just call it just awakening your power, really, and it's getting people connected back to the Creator. And then it just became bigger than the Surgeon General of the United States. He reached out to me, and he was like, yo, can you come on the last leg of my tour? And I was like, oh my God, like, wow. And then I started talking to like big psychologists and psychiatrists and therapists and stuff like that. And it was like, how do you know what you know? Because I'm saying certain things that they were saying. They were like, and I was like, I just started educating myself, because I just wanted to think my way out of my situation. And that's what happened. So I just feel like I'm going to always feel this moral obligation to go back and talk to people just to make sure their mind is right. Because if this is not right, you can't do nothing. And most of us, and last thing that I'll say too is that everyone here is dealing with things mentally. So some people think like other people have mental health issues and they don't. It's like physical health, right? You go to the gym, you work out, you try to eat better just so your body can maintain itself. If you got to run, you got to do something, it's easier. If you got to go up a flight of stairs, it's easier. If you're dealing with stress, your body can deal with stress better. So when you put certain guidelines in your mind and develop a strong mental health, you just have mental fortitude and spiritual fortitude. So when the inevitable happens, which is problems, which is challenges, which is everyone's going to go through that, you can just cope with it better. That's all it is. And like we're living in a country that the foundation of the country, no disrespect to anybody in their beliefs, it was built on lies. So we're victims of a system that was built on corruption. So it's like you're not going to be able to think clearly. And that's why you got to put things in place just so you can think clearly, so you can go through this. But I'm done. I'm sorry, guys.
And this has been your TED Talk.
Thank you.
But no, I absolutely love that. And again, I think it's such an important gift. And it is a gift, and one that not only benefits the recipient, but also the giver as well. So I think it's really cool. Courtney, I want to talk with you a little bit. When was a time where there was a role you were going for and you knew you had it? You knew it was yours, it was in the bag, and then it was, and what did you learn from an experience like that?
So many. Where do I begin? I had this role that I knew was mine. I had gone through the third stage. The casting girl was hyping me up. She said, Courtney, I even want to see if I can get you to do the lead. Like, number 2 is good, but I think we can get you for number 1. I'm like, okay, girl, hype me up. Like, this is and then I do the chemistry read with the girl they want to be the number 1. And I'm like, all right, they already like me, so I'm gonna have a good time with her. She was not messing with me. She did not like my banter, like when I was ad-libbing with her. And I was like, no, we're doing this. This is good. And so when it ended, I closed my laptop and I was like, it's mine. I'm like having a good day. They called me like 4 or 5 days later, the casting girl crying on the phone. I'm sorry, could I try my best? Like, they wanted somebody different. And honestly, it took me a little while to get over that. Like, I just was like, because what they do is you on your third stage, you haven't had the Kim read yet, and they showing you money. Yeah. They showing you what it's gonna be like for the next 5 years. They selling you this beautiful dream. I ain't never seen this much money on a piece of paper before in my life. So you get excited and you like, okay, if they showing me the money, it gotta be mine. That's not true. That's not true. But it took me a while. It was my first time ever getting that far on anything, and I was like, this is what the people be talking about. Like, you get this far, they say it's yours. You shake the hands, you do whatever, and that is just not what happened. And it took me a couple of days to kind of just let it go. Like, I cried when I got off the phone, and I was like, I thought that was mine. This is going to change my life. Da 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 da. And then I remember having a dream, because God does a really good job of talking to me in my dream. I had a dream, and I kept saying, it was mine, it's mine. And I was a kid in the dream. It was mine. And it wasn't like it was a parent or anything, but like a figure was standing in front of me and was like, if it was yours, you would have it. And I remember getting up in my dream like, oh, I remember waking up like, oh, okay. And it was like a relief, like a weight was lifted off to me. 'Cause I was like, if it was mine, I would have had it. And whoever got it, it was definitely theirs. And I know they loved that opportunity. I know that it changed their lives for the better. And I just think about that now, especially if the role, not to be biased, but especially if I don't get the role and a Black girl get it, I'd be like, oh, that was for you, baby. I'm gonna root you on all the way. But I just know, like, everybody's role, anytime you audition, there's so many possibilities for everybody to have an opportunity. If it's not for me, it's for somebody else. And I'm just so excited that we get to tell these stories, like, that don't feel like we don't get to see those that often. So if I don't get to do it, I'm really excited for the next person that gets to do it. And I just have to keep reminding myself, ooh, it wasn't mine. I can't wait for the person to get what's theirs. Mm-hmm. So it took me a second, y'all. But, like, I think after a while, you work the muscle, you understand the money's not yours, so they shake that hand until you sign them little check marks and stuff like that. But just reminding myself, like, I'm in this career with a bunch of other people who want to do the same thing I want to do. And if they going as far as I am, and if they doing their best job, like, I can only be excited about that. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I can't. Hey.
And I love especially how that ties back into what.
I know you wasn't messing with me, girl. Like, I want to say it, but I can't.
That's the worst. All actors know that. I'm sorry.
I love how that ties back into what Da Vinci was saying about, building up that fortitude so that when it happens again, when that inevitable comes, then you're a little more prepared and maybe it stings a little bit less. Myles, I want to talk with you. So you're in a unique position where both you and Da Vinci are on the same show. And the characters y'all play are so funny. I already know this is about to be.
I don't like them.
Good time. Exactly. Well, there is some animosity between those characters. And so I want to know from you, what is your process after the cut? After they yell cut and you need to kind of disengage yourself from this role and remember that you actually like Da Vinci, and he's a cool dude.
I don't know. Interesting thing about being Mickey's character was, like, I was never able to detach from him. And with it being my first series regular, I experienced a lot, just like a lot of learning curves, because this isn't just like a one and done. You film a movie and you don't have to portray it, or do the character anymore. You do it 3 months and you're done. You film something else. But when you do a TV show, and not just a reoccurring, but the same character over and over again for 3 to 4 years of your life, and you know how to dismantle a gun and put it back together again, and you know how to stretch this, and you know how to, it's like it does a mental toll on you. Like, you realize where Heath Ledger was coming from. You know what I mean? Especially when you got a good writer and he knows what he's doing with your character. And as a performer or an artist, our job is to illustrate a story for somebody to believe, is to create on a canvas that's given to us, any canvas at that, and adapt. And with this character over the years, like, it was changing. He was always adapting, and I adapted with the character, even all the way down to, just the clothing and just his style and just how he just carried himself. And, I couldn't take that away from me because, in a sense, that was me, But then there was a lot of him that wasn't me that would affect my life, like how I would respond in conversations or how I would react in certain ways. And it's like, whoa, that's B. Mickey. You know what I mean?
B. Mickey jumped out.
Yeah. Or when he walk around, B. Mickey would jump out too. So, yeah. It's fun though, right? It's fun. And like I said, it's learning curves at the end of the day, So going forward, when I do get that next opportunity, I'm gonna be prepared, and hopefully I don't have another Da Vinci around that brings that character out all the time. So,
In the form of a character. We always want Da Vinci.
Of course.
Well, talk to me a little
Big
more.
laugh.
Talk to
I
me a
love
little
Myles.
bit more, and Da Vinci can weigh in on this as well, about the idea of playing someone who was real, but not just playing someone who was real, but then also being able to kind of access their relatives and their story, and sometimes even them. So, no, to you, Myles.
Oh,
Sorry.
me?
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of shaky for me because with being Mickey or Brian or D Meeks or what have you, I didn't have contact with him as much as Da Vinci had with Terry and Meech had with his father and so on and so forth with all the other characters. So in me, like, I just had to, pull from stories, pull from different conversations that they had with him, and then also just, pull from the text. I was a little bit restricted, but that's the fun in it, create.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other?
That was the
was that it? Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, and I was going to ask you too, Da Vinci, kind of what is it like, especially having that connection with Terry?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's hard, especially when a person is still, relatively young, and I mean all their senses work, so they're seeing this. They're seeing, because usually when you play a character that's real, they're probably like long gone. So I was in my head about it a little bit, but it was great that I got to talk to him and hear his story and talk to the family and things like that. So I was able to put this character together. But after when we was filming the first season, I was in my head the entire time. But after the season came out and I had a conversation with him, and he was just like, yo, the way you did it, man, you killed it, man. Like, I really would have thought you from Detroit. And he was giving me my flowers. And as a man, to watch another man that's not kin to you play you, and to give him his flowers, that meant so much. And I was like, that's like an Emmy. That's like a SAG award, that's the real person. And I think, and that's why we do this. So to hear how he responded to it, it was amazing. And it really gassed me. I was like, yeah, I did this.
I love it. Now, Ernest, one thing that's so interesting to me about your career is that you have started to kind of develop your own pathways. I know you're in the process of writing and producing a short film. So tell us a little bit about that and what made you decide to take on that project.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of stemmed from a place of this industry is very inconsistent, as we've kind of discussed right now, and especially with, rejection and the strikes and stuff. And I guess writing kind of started off as a hobby for me. But then I quickly realized that, no, wait, this could be another discipline in itself. Like, it doesn't have to be, I write and I act. It can all be like, I write, I create, I do acting, I direct, I produce. It's all from the same cloth. And I feel like with this story, I just, I started writing it like right after Washington Black, finished filming that. And I kind of just shared it with people, and people shared like a passion for it. And I was like, okay, cool. I can make this, and I can put something out there that can stay there, and I can say that I made it. This is something about that. I don't know, just saying that I made this thing, I put out, it's mine, and it's for others as well. Like it's like, I think it's also, I guess I underestimated the power of like how a story can affect other people as well. Maybe it's because of some kind of imposter syndrome of, like I'm not like an official writer, I'm just doing it out of like a passion project. But that in itself, you write from yourself, you write from a place of passion, and you're surprised at how much it can affect someone else. So I think that's that's kind of where it stemmed from. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about A Love Story.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it's a short film about these three teenagers, like friends, or best friends, and it basically centers around one of them. He's like this insecure teenager who thinks he's falling in love with one of his best friends, but his feelings kind of snowball into something dark and destructive. And I wanted to speak to the kind of emotions of young teenagers, especially young men. I feel like there is an issue with teenagers, maybe in the UK especially, of like how do they deal with like unreciprocated love, unreciprocated feelings of like, you like someone, they don't like you back, and how do you retaliate? How do you kind of channel that into something that's like healthy and as opposed to putting all your identity in this person liking you back, and I wanted to do it in a way that was nostalgic and I wanted an all black cast and on the beach. Like I wanted to make something that I could recognize and other people could recognize and that I just enjoyed doing. Yeah.
I think it's such a unique concept. I'm really excited to see where that
Thank
goes.
you.
So we'll be rooting for you. Courtney, in that same vein, you also did a lot of your creating yourself. You had your YouTube channel, which has the iconic meme of returning the Uggs, but there was sandals inside the box. It's so good, y'all. Please check it out. But then also, like on your Instagram, you have the put it on your watch list and all that stuff. I noticed one of the shows that you were like was Abbott Elementary, and then lo and behold, you're on Abbott Elementary. So is that manifesting? Tell me about your creative process.
It's so funny because I feel like whenever I'm creating, I just want to like resonate with people. And I think also too, I just want to make people laugh. Like, I think that's always been something I've always wanted to do, is to make people laugh. I love making my parents laugh. I love making my cousins laugh. I was like, maybe I could do that on a grand scale. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create skits and do like the customer service videos where I'm making fun of my circumstances when I was working at Nordstrom, because I felt like those customers were on a different planet, and people loved it. And people who worked in customer service or worked in retail or worked in any industry where you're working with like a customer, they resonated with it. And I was like, okay, I can make stories that talk about the plight of the working person, and then but also make light of it, and people can laugh. And I loved that. The Abbott Elementary thing is interesting because I love doing watch list stuff, because I like to showcase shows and movies that are, either have black leads or tell really good black stories. I just want people to watch them. And I talked about Abbott, but I was on Insecure at the time, and she saw me on that show, and we saw each other at the premiere, and she was like, "Oh, I think you're so funny. I love your Instagram." Da da da. I was like, "Oh, great!" So we followed each other. A year goes by. I go to her season finale of the first season, and I say hi. She's like, "Oh my gosh, hey, did you get my DM?" And I was like, "No, what'd you say?" And she's like, "Well, I want to make a character for next season. I really want Janine to have a friend, and I thought I could be a good friend. I don't know if you're available." I was like, "Stop. Yes, I am available." But just because I not only was speaking light into black content, I was making my own skits, and then that's how I got my manager, and my manager got me the audition for Insecure, and I continued to stay online, and she liked my presence online. It got me that opportunity. So everything I do. One of you all said, searching for the joy, and leaning into the working on things that feel joyful. That's what I did. And now these opportunities came up in my life that I don't think I would have got if I wasn't actively putting myself out there and wanting to make people laugh. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my creative process. I just want to make people laugh.
I love that.
Thank you.
Instagram stays trying to ruin lives. So I don't know. All the DMs I don't want. The ones I need disappear. I want to talk to you all about the art of the typecast. The idea of roles that you might have to go for in order to kind of get to the next level, or something where you're just not sure. Maybe it's, the sassy black friend. Maybe it's the, gangsta baby daddy, whatever, where it's in that thing that, is just kind of all the time, right? But you still kind of feel you still, right. Well, that's what I was going to, yeah, you still find yourself having to compete even for those. Tell me about your thought process around those kind of roles and kind of what your decision making is. We'll start with you, Da Vinci, and we'll go down.
That's a great question. Typecasting is for sure a real thing. Hollywood is still so new, and shout out to our forefathers that did it before us, the Sidney Poitiers, the Denzels, and the Wills, and all these people that paved the way and fought for us, because we're in a way better position now than they were back then. And I think there's leaps and bounds that we're still making. But the typecasting thing, it's unfortunate and it's real. But it's just one of those things that I had to tell myself that, life could be called many things, but fair is not one of them. And it's just not fair. And I just have to just rely on the Holy Spirit that he's just going to order my steps. And even though what the roles that was used that to typecast me, God put an anointment on those roles. And then it just, because the roles that really got me the most notoriety, they were like one episode roles. It was garbage can roles. It was the character that was like local. And it was like, here, he's an athlete. Yeah, he plays sports here. And then they were like, whoa. And then Twitter was responding to my character. And it was like, hold on, come back, young man. Let's write you in. And like, so I was really just fortunate. I was really like, my whole career was made off of that. And it just shows you God's power, And I think that's what I just rely on in dealing with this, because I feel like every industry, there's the injustice that's going on. So I just try to just pray my way through it. And I know we're slowly but surely making waves. You got Instagram. You see what Courtney just said with what she, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just amazing things happening still. So I'm hopeful.
How about you, Courtney?
I am auditioning heavily, usually for roles that feel like the assistant or like the outspoken best friend. And there was a time when I was like, super excited about those roles because, yes, like I feel as though I can embody those with ease. And then also, too, there was a time when I was like, well, I also want to make sure I'm not always auditioning for that. So, yes, I use those opportunities. Like Koya, I have people screaming from the cars, calling me Koya at every chance they get. And I love that because I made such an impact on that character, because I know I did that. I know I did that assistant way different than somebody else would have did. I know I said, if I'm gonna be the assistant, I'm gonna be the best assistant in the room. And I'm gonna make her feel different than I think we've seen before. So yes, you're gonna get those roles that feel very typecasty, like I haven't seen a sassy black friend, but they be doing code words now. Right. They change it just a little bit. She's outspoken, she's funky, she different. She gonna say what's on her mind.
She can't whisper.
Stuff like that. They're just gonna change the verbiage of it. But how do you see that audition and go, how can I make this me? Because an audition can come on your table, but they still don't know what they're looking for. Like, we think that breakdown is exactly what they need and exactly what they're looking for. You know how many auditions I've had where it says they have to speak in this accent and they should be this and that, and I do the accent terribly. I send in the tape, and then the person who books it not doing the accent, she's doing it completely different. I'm like, what, y'all got video footage of me doing this accent, and y'all didn't need it? So they don't know what they want yet. They just don't. So it's up to you to look at that breakdown and be like, all right, well, how can I make this me and still serve the material? And that's, I think, what I've done for the assistant roles and the besties and all those different things. And I think because they've seen a different side of me, I think that's how I was able to get the shrinking. And now they see me as the annoying little sister, but she has a backstory, because I wanted to make sure all my characters felt like they had backstories. And then that's how, now we're in Ballard, and that character is completely different than something I've ever played. But I think those opportunities that I had with the stereotypical role, where I said, how can I make this me? So I think it's all just about how you take those stereotypical roles. Like, we're not a monolith. Black can come in a lot of different ways, and you look for assistant, I can show you a different type of assistant. So I think it's just up to us to make sure that we show them what they need to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. How about you, Myles?
I don't know. I started getting into trouble with like the same roles after I did BMF and then season 4 of Stranger Things, because I was doing season 1 of BMF and Stranger Things at the same time. So they basically came out almost at the same time. And after that, I was just getting drug lord or corner boy or basketball up and coming star, sophomore. And it was like, man, like, you know, like you said, there's so many flavors of black, you know, and in a sense, yeah, we gotta take the opportunities though, right? Because sometimes we're not in the position to just turn stuff down. So, you know, like Courtney said, find a little bit of you within that character, or just show them something different. Scratch the, you know what I'm saying, the whole character breakdown. You don't do it for the director. Don't do it for the casting director. If you go into it doing it for yourself and with your own vision of how you see this scene, to an extent, now the writing is the writing, and you know what I'm saying. But there's 100 to 1,000 other people that did it exactly how the text looked. So if you find something different or a tone that you can switch within that scene to stand out, that's how you gonna book, or that's how they're gonna be like, oh, bring him back. You know what I'm saying? That's what they like. You know, so it's cool to say no sometimes, but then understand, you know, what opportunities are in front of you. You know, sometimes it might be a niche. You know, that might be your flavor. You know, show me different flavors every time though. You know, so I feel like that's how Dwayne The Rock Johnson does it. We get about the same flavor almost every time, but it's like it's a different movie. You know what I mean? And he make it work. You know, if you make it work, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So
I love that. It's true. That's true. Ernest, talk to me about basically the same thing, but also from the point of view of being a British actor, specifically a British black actor. Do you find that there are similar kind of disturbances on that side, or are they different? Do they look different?
Yeah, I mean, I think similar to what Da Vinci said, I do feel like because of the actors who came before me, there is a plethora of, you know, different kind of roles out there for black British actors and actresses, I'd say. It's still difficult, but there's much more than there was before. I've been fortunate enough to receive, a varied amount of different kind of characters, to be honest. But I think a lot of it is down to the contrary of what you said. I do just say no. Like as in, like, I do sometimes just reject the auditions if I feel like there's a trend, if I'm continuously getting like the same kinds of auditions, because I just feel like, you know, I'm already taking a risk to do this job, this career. I'm already kind of taking a leap of faith, and I would like to do it in like putting as much of myself as I can forward. And if I feel like the way this is going is like I'm doing it because I feel like I have to, or I feel like I should, I don't want to. I could do something else. I just feel like if I'm in this career, I'm gonna do it in a certain way, still taking like advantage of the opportunities that come my way, but not kind of pandering to a way that I should be, or the roles that I should do. I feel like there's a balance.
Very good. You know, we talk a lot about the bad times, and it's very easy to kind of understand, you know, one day at a time and, you know, that kind of thing. I want to talk about the successes. How do you celebrate a success? Are you all some people that are like, oh, I'm going to live in this until the next thing, and, you know, you ain't going to tell me nothing, I'm be unbearable? Or are you more of the, oh, no success is guaranteed, no success is given, you know, I got to keep fighting, or, you know, where is that happy medium for you when it comes to when you do book that role, when you do get that thing that you've been working for? How do you comprehend that? How do you deal with that? We're going to start with you again, Da Vinci.
Oh, that's a great question. And Ernest, I do want to say, I think it's your voice too, brother, that makes you go out for different roles from us. Yeah,
What does that mean?
The accent, brother. I literally can't explain.
Bottle of water. Bottle of water. Is that
on the contrary?
Yeah. It's like,
Ernest,
Ernest, I'm so serious, that accent. And you not being from this, I literally booked a role before. I literally came in the audition room speaking to my mom, but we speak French and French Creole, right? Because we're from Haiti. And they were just like, you're not from this country. And I was just like, well, you know. I was like, you know, kind of, even though I'm from Brooklyn, but my grandma raised me, so, you know what I'm saying? That's why I speak the language. But they treated me so different. I don't know what it is they did, but I'm so sorry. That was not the question. But they treated me so, and now I'd be like, yo, I'm not African American. I'd be like, no, I'm not.
From
I'm
across
not.
the pond. I didn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I promise, and it really works. It really works. Yeah, Myles got it hard. No, I'm playing. No. I'm joking. No. But to answer your question with the celebration, though, I would say that means you're talented, brother. That's what that means. Yeah. That really means you're talented because you be.
I'm African American.
Yeah, you talented, bro.
Well,
you really
honestly, I figured out I was Ethiopian about 6 years ago.
Boy, you better use that.
That's what I'm saying.
Boy, you better use.
You feel me, bro?
From the globe.
Hey, I'm from across the pond too.
I know, bro. You better say that.
Motherland drip on.
We're looking at Black Panther. Say less. But no. To get back to your question about how do we celebrate? I actually have a hard time dealing with celebration because I've never had a birthday party. I've never celebrated like graduations or anything like that. Like I came in my family when it was like everything was just bad, right? I never had a Christmas. I never had things like this. So I have a hard time dealing with the attention. So when I book something and something huge happens, I remember when I first made $100,000, I was just like, oh my God, this is so nice. And I just I prayed. And I just went to dinner and I was like, all right, God, I'm going to steward this in this way and da-da-da. And then you first make 7 figures, it's the same thing, So I have issues with actually celebrating. So I actually don't know how to do it. So I'm curious to see how these beautiful brothers and sisters celebrate because I really never, or maybe one of my friends bro, just go to dinner, bro. And I'll be like, I'll go to dinner, but and the thing is, I don't feel like I'm missing anything though. So I'm not saying that for anyone to be like, oh, that sucks, man. I'm actually cool.
We can take you out. Yeah.
No, I actually would rather not have that. Yeah, no. Yeah, and I'm awkward with it. I'm so, but yeah.
How about you, Courtney? How do you celebrate?
I take my friends out to eat. Mm-hmm. I don't tell them I booked it or anything like that. But I just yo, let's just go out. And they're like, well, where you want to go? I'm like, let's go to Tao. or I'm like, well, let's go to because they could tell either from off of what I'm saying that we're gonna go eat, or even if I'm indulging. I don't usually go out often. That's a lie. I do like to eat, but I'm saying when I do go out to eat, if I don't usually indulge because I'm trying to keep the body tea. So but they'll know okay, well let's go out there. Where you want to go? Olive Garden, and they be like, you want to have some breadsticks right now? What's going on? What's and I pay for the bill. And right when we get out a little dessert, I'm so I booked something, y'all. And I know that I just want to celebrate it with them. That to me is my celebration. Being able, because I didn't really have money like that. Or I always was bad with money. I'd have it, I get my paycheck and it's going towards something. It's going towards a bill, it's going towards this. And I was always doing paycheck to paycheck. So when I can actually give, oh my gosh, my friends have to be like, Courtney, stop. We'll get the bill. We'll get this. I'm like, no, but I got it. Let's just do it. So that's me, celebrating. It's me being able to give. And I think that just fuels me. I'm like, okay, if it's coming out, it's going to come back tenfold. Because I know whatever I spend and give to my friends and let them know this is how I want to treat y'all. Because y'all deserve to be treated this way too. We all in this industry. And I love how much y'all support me. This is me showing that. I want to pay for this and I want to take care of it and I don't have to worry about it. I always say it's going to come back tenfold. And it always do. It always do. Whether it's a, residual check, whether it's a new job, whether it's just, I don't know. It just always comes back. And that to me is my celebration. Let me give what I can in a way. So that's how I celebrate now.
That's fun. Yeah. Very good. How about you, Myles?
I feel like for me growing up, starting as a kid, I was very excited after every project that I booked. You feel me? I was crying a ball. You feel me?
Yeah.
But, when you get older and then, you become a man, you start to realize, everything is temporary. And, a relationship, experience, money, and, I try not to get lost in the sauce. You know what I mean? Especially now, being grown, because I could easily be in the same position as the man that take my trash out my trailer, just like that, and I could be like, yeah, I used to be like you, So I feel like that just grounding for me, just understanding that everything is temporary. I mean, it's cool to, celebrate. Yes, Da Vinci. It's cool to, you know what I mean? Play some pickleball, man. Nah, play some pickleball.
I do my
You like
Go get you a
pickleball?
cake.
Go play some pickle, But what I'm saying is it's good to enjoy the moment though, because it's like, man, it gives you yourself a little gratitude, like, and grace, like, man, all right, a little understanding where you at in this dot in your timeline, But then it's like, hey, if you have that balance, everything is temporary though. And what are you going to do with this success? Because you can't celebrate something that's just temporary, though. You got to keep longing to celebrate if that's what you want to do, Court.
I do.
You feel me?
I certainly do.
So, yeah, that's how I, balance everything.
Beautiful. How about you, Ernest?
Yeah, I give thanks to God. I pray. I just say thank you for the opportunity. I share the news with friends and family, and then I go into my room. I put a timer on for about 5-10 minutes, and I just go crazy. I just go like, and then when the time is up, then I keep it pushing. I feel like it's important to just set aside a time where you can just go crazy, and I feel the same way with rejections. I feel like you need the time where you can be honest about how you really feel. I feel like because things are temporary, as you said, it's you need the time to celebrate both those sides. When you're sad, yeah, cry about it. Set a time aside you can cry about it. When you're happy, go ballistic. Celebrate however you want to celebrate, Da Vinci. Do your thing. I'm sorry, I had to.
Please celebrate.
Nah, I'm
Thank you,
celebrating.
do
I'm
it.
praying to God. I'm giving God the praise.
We're all going to sing happy birthday to Da Vinci at the end of this.
But yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
I love those answers because they say, the making of your character is not necessarily what you do when you don't have anything, but how you act when you do. And so, I got quotes too, Da Vinci.
Okay.
Your bad self.
I want to talk, since we're talking to a bunch of actors and since everyone is trying to get familiar with this business, tell me about the bringing together your team, your current team, and the ways in which they support you, and basically why the importance of having a team that is going to support and kind of do the best for you. We're actually going to go backwards and start with you, Ernest.
Yeah, I feel like, I try to go by intuition and spirit, especially when I'm meeting, for example, when I first hired my agent, which is a core part of the team of people I have around me. Just demeanor and if she's aligned with my vision, if she's nice, if she's kind. But a lot of it is a lot of people are nice, a lot of people are kind. It's really hard to decipher what someone's going to be like in a working relationship. And I feel like that's where your spirit comes in. And I feel like I've been fortunate enough to have that team around me. My wonderful publicist is here as well, Michael, and he's absolutely incredible and lovely and kind. And I feel like I'm just really grateful. I think also, doing the short film and having to amass a crew of people around you, I feel like it's the same thing. Making sure you have a team of people who are aligned with your vision and are just kind-hearted at heart. That's the main thing. And I feel like if they have that, if they get at what they do, everything will fall into place.
Myles?
Yeah, it should fall into place. For real.
Tight beat.
Tight.
Tight.
Then you try to go to American on me, But like you said, as your team is built.
You're embarrassing me, man.
I see how they feel like on SNL when you break character and the audience is laughing. You try to keep back in it, but it's all right, y'all can.
Well, I know you started young, and so you've cycled through some different team members.
So what's crazy is I didn't, right? My mother was always my team.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because going into this industry, you gotta have that glue, and it got to be Gorilla Glue too. It can't even be the stick glue. You know what I mean? It's got to be that Gorilla Glue. And man, she was there when I didn't want her to be. She was there when I did want her to. You know, she was there when I needed her to. You know, and throughout all the contracts, throughout everything, she was my manager. She was my agent. She was my mother. You know. And then over time, me, growing into, a man, it's like, Mom, I got this on set. You don't got to call me all the time, and that's when my manager had came in, and my manager would have never met my mother if it wasn't for my grandmother. So really my whole team is built off of family, trust, and also perspective too. Being a child actor growing up into the industry and being a man now, it's like you started off thinking that you made it and that you had it all understood. Man, I'm on this TV. It's like nobody in my family did this, But then when you have another male figure come into your life, your manager, and then when you have your mom coming from not just a mother's perspective, but from a business perspective, it's like it's levels to it, and then I gotta trust it. Because it's coming from love and from people that really care for you, So that's my team is really built off of that. So
it gives you the space to trust it as well.
Yeah, most
that
definitely.
is a right. That's beautiful. How about you, Courtney? Tell us about your team.
So for me, the first time I got my manager, she saw me. So she reached out to me, and when I told her like, oh yeah, I'm writing skits, and I didn't have to sell myself. Like I just said, oh yeah, I write skits online. And she stopped me. She said, okay, do you want to create? Like, I really want to see if we can make like your skits into something. Like, are you trying to create? Or like, what else are you trying to do besides acting? Like, because I can see you in these roles. I can see you as a director. I can she was speaking light into me. It wasn't like she was like, well, what do you want to do? And like waiting for me to tell. I'm like, I'm new to this. I've never done this before. And it was her speaking life into me. Like, this feels like somebody who's going to, champion me. Even in the spaces where I don't feel like I could, I don't know, I like acting, I like this, but no. You're a director because you direct in these skits and you're good with, you understand where the camera should be and you understand where the comedy lands and where you need to clip certain things because that's funny. Like, you are all these things and more. So it was the people that I wanted on my team speaking life into me at every go. I don't have that manager anymore because she went to go be a wife. Love her to death, though. Avi, I miss you.
How dare she?
How dare she live a life? But she was wonderful, and she also reminded me what I need to look for in my next manager. So when I went on and I was, meeting with new people and I was seeing how they were interacting with me and seeing them like treat me, it felt like I was a number at some of these places. Just like, okay, let's get her on here. She's doing good. Let's get her on. It didn't feel like they wanted to build me. And the manager I have right now, she felt exactly like that first manager. She was like, well, I know what you can do. I feel like you're this, you're that. And she's telling me all the things that she wants to see me doing in the next year or two. Like, she had a plan for me. And you need a team that believes in you kind of more than you believe in yourself sometimes. Because I think I'm just like, nah. But then now my agents are reaching out to me like, hey, you said you was writing a script. Where is that? Like, or like you wrote a little bit of the pilot. I know you could write a couple more pages. Just send it in. Like, they were constantly speaking light into me. And also they made me feel comfortable, like, speaking up for myself. Like there was a couple roles that I maybe passed on. They were like, and I sat with them. I said, hey, look, I know my reel can show them exactly what they need to see. I don't need to audition for this same type of role right now when I've done it 4 other times. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Especially if it's like a pop in, like if I'm in an episode or 2, like, right. Y'all don't need me to audition for this. I have a reel with 4 characters that's the same thing. Mm-hmm. But I felt comfortable talking to them because I don't usually stand up for myself as much as I would like to. And they gave me that space. They always were champion, like Courtney, put us in our place. Like, let us know what you need from us because you don't work, we don't work. Like, so you need a team of people that you're not scared to talk to and put your foot down with, and you need a team of people that are championing you and like speaking so much light into you, more light than you speak into yourself. Because if not, then there's no point. This career is too large to just be having willy-nilly people on your team. Yeah. Like, you need people that's like, okay, what's next? Like, I know you just booked this. We got some other auditions coming your way too. So don't rest. We got some more stuff coming for you. Like, yes, keep me working, keep me booking, like keep me in those casting rooms. Let me book the casting rooms. Like, let them get to really know me. So my whole focus is how are you speaking light into me, and where do you want to see me in the next year? Because I know where I want to be. Or is your vision bigger than mine? Because if it's not, then we won't have nothing to talk about.
I think it's so important. I love that you pointed out the idea of someone being able to, you can say, oh, I planned my mom's birthday party, and someone be like, oh, so you've done event planning, procurement, you've done budget setting, you've done
who you are, and like, really, oh, I guess I did. Like, you know, that's true.
And like you were saying, it's people who see you as you can be, and not versus the way that you might see yourself at that time. So yeah. How about you, Da Vinci?
Yo, that was so well said, Courtney. Like, no, like, for real. Like, no, like, she just said all y'all just said some really great stuff. Like, I really, like, I felt what you were just saying, bro. Like, no, who's your agent? Nah.
I got you. I got you.
Nah, yeah, I just want to know who's your agent. Because I'm just like, because you saying something right now that's like, that is, I feel you, bro. Like, for real. But
SAG does not play like Taryn and Celestine, they like, what we doing next? Like,
no, that's really good. And if there's, I mean, what everyone just said on this panel was so great. If there's just one last thing that I would say, I think there is this element of serendipity, if you guys don't want to call it God. But I believe that it's God. And in Proverbs 3:6, it says, acknowledge him in all your ways and he'll direct your steps. And I think if you don't put God first, you have no team. And then he will put the players in your team. But the team is the most important thing. You cannot go anywhere without a team. We need each other. And everything that everyone just said on the stage it was so well said. Like, I'm like, yo, y'all really speaking some real stuff right now. So yeah, but that's all I would say.
That's what's up. I love that. So my final question, unfortunately, we have taken up a lot of really good time, and I hope you all have really absorbed what was being said. We're going to start with you, Ernest, and work our way down. Tell us, what is a piece of advice that you wish you would have gotten at the start of your career that maybe you learned later, but you wish you would have had it then?
It's a good question. I guess the first thing that comes to mind is patience. I don't know what the exact sentence is of advice, but I feel like there's been a lot of times where I've booked the job and I've been expectant that, okay, this means I'm on a roll now. The next one's coming. Like, I booked one, I booked another. But I've had to learn anyway to be patient and just to take it, not even just day to day, moment to moment. So I feel like, that'd be the one piece of advice I'd give my younger self anyway. Patience.
I feel like anybody coming up in this industry now needs to hear this. The best advice I've gotten, I was working with Michael B. Jordan, and I got done working with him. Mind you, this is when he was on 2K. So I don't know if there's any video game players here, but he was on he was in the my career game mode and all that. He signed my copy. Woo woo woo. So yeah. So this is when he was on the game, and after we got done filming, and I was like, man, I don't think you understand what you're doing for me right now. This has been amazing. I can't wait to be like you. He said, you can never be like me. He said, be the best version of yourself, and I'm gonna try to provide the best blueprint.
All right.
And when he told me that, there was no more, I can't wait to be like Denzel. There was no more, I can't wait to be like Will Smith. There was like, okay, there's going to be a Myles Truitt. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a Myles Truitt that your cousin going to be talking about, with her, with his girlfriend, when I'm not there, a household name, and itself just understanding, don't chase your own timeline and don't compare it to nobody else's. Mm-hmm. Right now, you in this theater is a dot in your timeline. Mm-hmm. Another dot is when you on set. But the more you try to chase to get to that next dot, chasing is stressing. Right? When you're stressing yourself out about when is this and when is that, rather than being present and understanding what the energy and the strength that you have to get there, like Da Vinci said, then now that's God's job to now put it in front of you. Because then God's going to be like, she's ready. He ready. But he not going to be ready if you're stressed, because that's going to be an overflow of stress when I give you this opportunity. You feel me? And you're not gonna take it up the way I expected you, and I know you can, right? So don't chase your timeline. Don't compare it to nobody else's. Like he said, it's patience and God as well. So.
Love that.
That's good. I would say what I would love to have told myself when I was younger is to stop doubting myself. I think it's so easy for us to be our own negative talkers, but it's a bunch of people doing that for you already. Please try to change the way you talk about yourself. Like, I think I took way too long to stop negging myself because it took way too long. And the sooner you work on speaking light into you, the sooner you work on, like, stop doubting you. Like, there's no one like you. It's literally that. There's no one like you. And there's just so much opportunity out here. So stop doubting yourself. Like, somebody is looking for you. So that I would love to have told myself that when I was
You
younger.
got to see yourself first.
That's true. That's true. And I think it took me a second. Like, I had to take out all that other noise, but just do your best. 100% do your best to spend more time with you, talk to God, understand who you are so that you can speak the light you deserve to speak about yourself always.
That's beautiful. And I think to add on to that, we're so quick to be humbled.
Yeah.
So quick to be humbled by everybody else that we do not need to do it to ourselves.
They're gonna
Speak
do it
light
for us
to
already.
yourselves. Yes, exactly. Mr. Da Vinci.
Wow. Oof, Ernest, Myles, and Courtney, you guys are preaching right now. I would probably say one of the biggest challenges that I faced in pursuing my dream was the inevitable fallout that I had with my family and my friends. And I wish I could have just told myself, like, when a vision is given to you and not other people, they can't see it. So don't spend your time arguing with them. And I've wasted a lot of time just taking things personal that was being said to me or said about me when I was really just trying to pursue something to then help everyone else out. You know, I just took it so personal, and I feel like I wasted a lot of time taking a lot of things personal, whether it was from my family, my close friends that I grew up with that I no longer have anymore, or like even the industry. I mean, we're in one of the toughest jobs in the world in terms of, like, every day you're constantly being scrutinized. Like, the way you look, speak, and breathe and sound is like everything is being analyzed on the regular. So when you don't get the role, and if the character was like a cute guy, you're like, was I not cute? If it's like fit girl, am I not fit? Like, or like good looking dude that's charismatic, like, am I not charismatic? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you can't help but to take it personal. But like Courtney was saying, if it's not for you, it's just not for you. And I wish I could have told myself that, because there's moments that, I mean, there's projects that, I mean, I'm sure you guys watched that I came so close to getting the lead. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm like the perfect character for this. And then you see the person they cast, and you're not even trying to hate, but you're just like, you're like, bruh, what the fuck? You like, I really do this in real life? You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, nah. But you just got to tell yourself, and I wish I could have told myself. And we all do it, though. I mean, you still like, yeah, go black man or go white man, do your thing. Like, for sure, you're happy for them, but you're just like, at first you're just like, you're a little salty. If you're being honest with yourself, you're like, first of all, bro, I could really bust your ass in this. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're like, bro, you can't see me, but you're like, you know, but it happens. But I wish I really could have just told myself, bro, don't take it personal. Just chill, like, relax, bro. What's for you is going to be for you. And I would have saved myself a lot of stress.
That's wonderful. It speaks into what Courtney and what Myles were saying about you have to know yourself. Yeah. And the only way that you don't get tricked into thinking that you're someone else is by knowing yourself.
Facts.
That's what's up. Thank you guys so much for taking time to talk with us.